You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about not giving up. Whatever it is that you're striving for, I know the days are long. I know the hurdles are there, and sometimes they never go away, right? But we have to find that tenacity, that passion, that drive inside us to just keep going and know that what it is that we're shooting for, that it is possible. Now, sometimes you have to rearrange the vision for your life. You might have to make adjustments to the timing of how soon you get that desired goal. But it is possible. And so you really want to make sure that today you listen in to whether it be callers that are reaching out about not giving up in their life, or whether it be our inspirational guest, Mildred Mohammed, coming up in our next segment. She had to not give up, going through years of domestic abuse at the hands of who is known as the DC Sniper. It's a really amazing story, which I don't want to rush too quickly now, but stay with us because it's really one that will inspire you and help you to look at your life a little differently, again, to really harness that tenacity within you. Now, it is really important that if you need to hear today's show again, because domestic abuse and violence is a really important topic that we want to keep front and center. So if you want to share this episode with a friend that you feel may be going through it, or yourself, make sure you go to livingfullout.com. You can get this episode and all of our episodes there waiting for you. Okay, now I'm getting word for a producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, my name is Kaitlin. I just had a quick question.
Yes, how can I help you?
So I was wondering, how would you manage a long-distance relationship?
When we talk about long distance, how far apart are you?
About 300 miles, like 6 hours.
Okay. And what do you find to be the most frustrating about this long-distance relationship?
Probably just not being able to see them, like hang out with them.
Mm-hmm. Now, do they equally have the same stress that you do?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. So obviously there are communication tools, right? We got texting, we got Skyping, we got, FaceTime, email, good old-fashioned phone. So you want to make sure that you use different delivery methods to keep it fresh. But also, I am such a fan of care packages. And it's amazing for me, because I'm legally blind, how much I've relied on my five senses. And so I want you to kind of think about that for you. Let's say you were to put together for this person a care package. And let's say you gave them something that they could hear, maybe a song that you and both share together that you both enjoy, or maybe you give them something that has a smell. Maybe you bake them cookies or their favorite dessert of whatever that would be. Maybe even toss in, a shirt of yours so that they can smell the shirt and be like, oh, that's her, right? There's a lot of different ways in which we can connect with people, even when we're not right there with them. And then the other piece of advice I have for you too is, and I do this with my friends as well as long distance partners I've had over time, is just everything you would do side by side, you can do it together by phone. I mean, there are girlfriends of mine where on Monday nights we watch The Bachelor. I'm in California, they're in Oregon, right? We each have our glass of wine and we take it in together. Or, in the past, I dated a gentleman and we both enjoyed Shark Tank, and we would be on the phone and we would enjoy the show together by phone. So have you tried some of those ideas?
I have. I definitely sent him care packages, and we try to FaceTime every night to talk about our day and stuff like that.
Well, and there is the saying that absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So you just have to make sure that you put down when you're going to actually be able to see each other, and make sure that when you both are in the same place, that you do have dedicated time. Now, my last question to you, is there a cap to this long distance relationship? Like, you'll be together in a year or 2 years, or is that open-ended?
Yes, so I'm graduating in 6 months, so I'm moving home. So we'll be ending the long distance with then.
All right. So whip out that calendar, right? And check it off daily, and kind of let these next 6 months just really even further fuel your passion for your relationship, and then put together all the things that you want to do when you're finally in the same location. I'm excited for you. I know it's not easy to weather that storm, but it sounds like you're absolutely on the right track. So thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you. Love that she called about that, right? Because sometimes when we're not with the person we love, we can let the negativity in our mind have us question, are they faithful? Or should we take a break? Or, is this worth it? And you know what? You always want to listen to your inner voice. That's your heart. That's your core. Don't let the head overrule it, okay? Trust your instincts. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I was wondering if you could offer some advice on how to maintain a positive attitude when you're going through a rough patch in your life.
That's really tough, right? Because it's even sometimes hard to get out of bed when you're having that rough patch, right?
Yes.
So what you have to think about, whatever this rough patch is, okay, in your life, and there may be multiple rough patches, right? We all have those situations too. You really have to look beyond this patch, like whatever it is. So for you, is it financial? Is it a relationship? Is it just an overload of responsibilities?
It's financial.
Okay. Now, can you see any glimpse of light at the end of the tunnel?
Yes.
Okay. And that's a really important question. It may just be a little flicker right now. But for everybody listening, for you got to find that flicker. And you got to really focus on it and know that it will get brighter and brighter and brighter. But how do you stay positive, right, within the time span that you're going through? I want you to consider, what are songs that comfort you, not make you sad, okay? But what are songs that make you feel strong? That, like, for example, there's a Whitney Houston song I really like called I Didn't Know My Own Strength. When I hear that song, I think, gosh, even on my blindest of days, being visually impaired, I hear that song and it fills me up. So I want you to put together a playlist on your phone or have someone make you a CD of songs that really make you strong. I also want you to consider switching up whatever got you in this position. Things don't happen by accident. At this point, take the opportunity to put some new budgets in place, or put an Excel spreadsheet together. And when we deal with the truth financially of where we're out of balance, it's very real. But at the same time, we take our power back when we acknowledge the truth. Do you see what I'm saying? And most of all,
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could you repeat that about the last two sentences that you said, please?
Well, what I want you to do is to take your power back. You have to acknowledge the truth. So sometimes that's putting together an Excel spreadsheet, putting together a budget, having a financial planner that can educate you on maybe where you went wrong or what you can do to better your situation. And don't walk around feeling like you have a big letter F on your chest for financial, right? I think sometimes when we have a bump in our life, when we have a hard time, we walk around like we're labeling ourselves. And that's not true. You will get past this time. But thank you so much for calling in, and we're going to wish you all the best, okay?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And for everybody listening today, we are talking about not giving up. We're talking about making adjustments, getting creative, but also putting together ways in which you're going to stay motivated to get through the hard times. So I'm super glad she asked that question. Now stay with us. In our next segment, we're going to have Mildred Muhammad. Okay, her story, it's a tough one to hear because it does have to deal with domestic violence. But boy, did she not give up. Even though her husband cheated on her, even though he became the DC sniper, even though he emotionally abused her, she never lost her faith and she never lost track of who she was at the core. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. It's all about not giving up. We'll be back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and it's the Living Full Out Show, and we're happy to have you. Now, today we're talking about kind of a hard subject, okay? It's about not giving up. But further, our inspirational guest today, Mildred Muhammad, she went through domestic abuse by her husband. And there's so much to the story that I want to jump right on in because this is a really important topic. I think everybody knows somebody who's been in an abusive relationship. And I think the ways that Mildred handled the abuse over the years, the way that she didn't feed it and make it worse is really incredible. So I would like to welcome Mildred Muhammad to the show.
How you doing, Nancy? I'm honored to be here.
I am so happy to have you. I mean, it's wild. I grew up myself with domestic violence in my family, and so when I hear parts of your story, it just kind of takes me back. And to me, this is such an important topic to keep at the forefront, but also some of the ways in which you managed or handled the abuse, I think are great tips to give our audience. So I want to jump on in, okay? Because I know your husband, obviously he was in the military and he served in the war and all of that. Yeah, ex-husband, I'm sorry, former husband, yep. But the thing that I think is so interesting is it wasn't so much that he physically hit you. It was the psychological, the spiritual abuse. And I know that, he would play tricks on you. He would, move your keys around. He would do all sorts of things. Can you give us a couple of examples?
Well, I remember one time we were going to a cookout. And at the cookout, he was making jokes about me and our relationship, and it was humiliating, and everybody was laughing. Of course, I wasn't. And so when we was able to get to ourselves, I asked him, I said, why did you talk like that about me and our relationship? He said, it's all a point of mind over matter. I said, what does that mean? He said, I don't mind because you don't matter.
That's a gulp moment
that
there.
Is. Yes.
It's interesting because I know that he even took like plates and silverware and what would be like a set of 8, 10, or 12, he would just break them all and ruin them and make it just a set of 3 for you, him, and your son.
Correct. And as well as the silverware. It was 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 knives. Of course, our son, he had his baby utensils, but he always kept it down to the 2 of us. I said, well, what happens if we have company? He said, then I'll just go get paper plates. But we don't need all of that.
Now, this is where it gets interesting for me, for you, because you started to catch on to this, and you chose to not respond. How did that work for you?
Right. That worked well for me because I felt that it takes 2 people to get into an argument. And whatever he was trying to bait me to do, I always thought to do the opposite. And whenever I did the opposite, he did not have fuel to continue with what he was saying or what he was doing. Everything that he did was to try to get me to respond, to cry, to fuel that. And so when he wasn't getting that, then he would always try to think of other ways in order to get it. I wasn't always successful because most of the times when he would do things like that, it would involve our children. Yeah. Because he came to the point to where, okay, it's not going to affect her, but if I target the children, then I'll get a response, which is what he started doing.
Well, and it's interesting. I've studied you a lot online. I was watching hours of you, which I enjoyed. You're a great presenter of this information. But You said many times that, with domestic abuse, it's not about physical scars. And there was a scenario where you wanted to take a rowboat ride with your son, and he stared at you with intense disgust or
hatred.
Anger. What was that moment like?
I saw hatred. That scared me. I never saw him look at me like that. And so it just shut me down. And I remained quiet all the way home for the ride home. As soon as I got in the apartment, I went in the bathroom and I locked the door. I did not come out. I was in there for hours, even into the middle of the night. I can hear my son knocking on the door and saying, "Mommy, please come out. Mommy, please come out." And I said, "Honey, I'll be out in just a little while." But I did not come out. And when I did, he was sleeping on the floor next to the door.
Oh,
and I picked him up, and he said, "Mommy, are you okay?" I said, "Mommy's okay now." And I put him in the bed. But I sat up in the living room the whole night because I was pregnant with our daughter, Selena. And so I didn't want to be near him.
Yeah.
I just sat up.
Well, I find it very interesting. I mean, we're going to take a bit of a jump here in your story because this went on for years. And even when finally you decided enough's enough, the psychological games went on. He was changing your phone number, even when he didn't live with you, hiding your son's medication. Share with us about that.
Well, once I did decide to leave, he was able to befriend someone at the phone company that every time I changed my number, she would call him and tell him what the new number was. And so I finally had to talk to a supervisor so that my number would be changed permanently. And the way they did that was they put a code on the phone so that if anybody should call asking for that number, they would have to know that code in order to change the number. So that was fine. My son had an asthma attack. Our son had an asthma attack, and it was pretty bad. His asthma attacks are near-death experiences. That's how bad they get. And I'm looking all over the house because I knew I put it in this location. I knew where it was, but it wasn't there. And frantically, I called him. We wasn't living together, and at that time, we only had pagers. And I paged him, and he came over, and he saw our son. He went in the bedroom, because I followed him. He went in the bedroom, at the top of the closet, in the corner on the left side, under several blankets and towels, was that machine. I said, did you want him to die?
Wow. Mildred,
why would you do that?
Those examples give me chills because he could have died. Now, I want you to stay with us because there's so much more to your story, but I really wanted the audience to get an essence of the psychological abuse that you were under for so many years. So stay with us. And everybody, today we are talking about not giving up, whether it's abuse, whether it's going after a goal or a dream. This is your life, and you're going to live full out. Together, we will get you there. Stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about not giving up, and it really means firing out all that positive energy into the world that things will work out. You know, really mustering the tenacity in your body to get through the really hard times. And we have brought to you an inspirational guest today, Mildred Muhammad, who had to go through years of domestic abuse by her ex-husband. But she was able to be freed. But it took years, and there's so much more to your story I just want to get to. So, Mildred, welcome back to the show. And Mildred, can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Yes, there you are.
Okay.
So one of the things that I think is so important that we touch on is, planning for the unexpected, because you finally got to the point where you filed for divorce. You were living separately. You had kind of had enough. And while you didn't spend time together, you had to work out visitation. You got your lifetime restraining order. I mean, you were doing it, right? You were protecting yourself as much as possible. But the unexpected happened when your son took your kids out of the country. He didn't bring them back. And I know you
No,
had...
He had them.
He had them, right, out of the country. And I know for 18 months you were without your 3 kids. How did you not give up? How did you not just break down every day, wonder if you'll ever see them again?
Well, I never thought that I would not see them again. That's the point. I knew that it would take time. I didn't know what situation I would be in, but I never thought for one moment that I would not get them back. So what I decided to do was I had to prepare myself to receive them back, meaning I needed to go to counseling. I needed to eat well. I needed to exercise. I needed to make sure that when the children did come back, that the judge would be able to see that I was emotionally balanced to take care of them and that he would award me custody of them. So in that process, I got my restraining order. I got the writ of habeas corpus, which meant anywhere they found my children, they needed to bring them back to me. Washington State just passed a law stating that if you are a victim of domestic violence, you can leave the state without being charged with kidnapping, and you don't have to let the abuser know where you're going. And I had all of my documents notarized, so I was ready. I was preparing for when I got them back. I did not listen to other people. Whoever was not with me was against me. That's how I had to look at it. If you were not speaking life into me, then you had to go. If you spoke doubt over me getting my children back, I could not have you in my life. You had to speak positivity. You had to work with me in my understanding of how I was going to move forward in getting my children back. If you could not do that, you could not be in my life.
Well, and it's very interesting, Mildred, because, I mean, you did get the call one day. And, Mildred, there's a little bit of background noise, I think, on your end.
I'm sorry.
But you did eventually get your kids back. And I know that, through witness protection, through all of it, you finally found your way to the East Coast. And it was time to start a new life. But you had to rebuild trust. You had to explain to your kids that you loved them, you were looking for them, just try to get things back on course. But again, your life takes another interesting twist, because here you are always looking over your shoulder, not knowing where your ex-husband John was, right? But at the same time, here you are, and in the D.C. Baltimore area, you guys had this D.C. sniper that everybody was looking for. Correct. And one day you get a knock on the door from the FBI. And what did they tell you?
They told me that they asked me when was the last time I had seen him. I told them September 2001 at the emergency custody hearing. They asked me, had I heard from him since that time? I said no. They asked me to come down to the police station to answer some questions, which I did eventually go. And that's when they told me that they were going to name my ex-husband as the sniper. And then they said, didn't you know you were the target?
And that must have been a really interesting moment for you, because you actually didn't have a lot of friends, because you knew you were looking over your shoulder. You knew what he was capable of. You didn't want to get anybody in harm's way. And here, people were in harm's way. And
so I did.
How did you, as you saw this unfold, and they did eventually catch him the next day, did you have guilt around what he had done?
I was angry. I was angry at law enforcement. I was angry at the governor in Washington State. I was angry with everyone who did not listen to me when I told them how dangerous he was and that he was going to kill me. I never imagined that he would kill other people, but I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt he was going to kill me, and it was going to be a headshot. That is what I was angry about. Had they listened to me, they would have caught him, and those people would still be alive.
You know what I admire about you, Mildred, is you do have this confidence. You do have this inner spirit that he could not break. But at the same time, there were times, like at his sentencing, his trial, where you needed like 6 security guards, and you needed that because there was still that underlying fear of what he could do. How did you balance that? Being so strong, but yet being so scared?
Well, when victims know their abusers, unfortunately, other people don't listen. I knew John, and I knew what he could do. And I asked for those extra security guards because I knew how fast he could move to that witness stand and snap my neck. I knew that. Mm-hmm. And so when victims are telling you that they're fearful and they're scared, people need to listen.
And you had a very long road. I mean, you were in love when you first met. He was charming, and then he becomes the DC sniper, and you're the target.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, when he was finally executed, were you sad? Were you angry? Did you have any emotions about it?
When John told me, "You have become my enemy, and as my enemy, I will kill you," I severed every emotional tie to him. Because when victims are emotionally tied to their abusers, they are more concerned with what the abuser is thinking instead of what they need to do to get away. Mm. When I severed that tie, I no longer had any emotions of love, affection. To me, he was a stranger. Mm. So when there was time for the execution, my only concern was for my children and how they would handle the fact that their dad was going to be executed and he would no longer be alive on this planet. Mm. That was my only concern. I didn't have any emotion about him being executed because I told my children during the trial, I said, whatever the jury decides, that's what we're going with, and that is what we're going to prepare for. Wow. And so in that process of him being sentenced to death all the way to the point of the actual execution, it was actually about helping my children, preparing them for that loss.
Well, and the interesting thing is,
regardless of what anybody else says about him, he's their dad.
Well, and I love that. I love that because there are so many parents who go through divorce, let alone domestic abuse, and it's just hate about their father or their mother. And, you know, you really left the decision in their hands. And I think that is the most loving gift that one could give. So I really appreciate you being on the show today, Mildred, and I'm proud of you, girl. Proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Today you can...
I say one thing about the children? One thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Here's what parents don't understand when you're teaching your children to hate the other parent. You're teaching them to hate a part of you because it took 2 of us to make them, right?
Absolutely.
So if they're hating that part, then they're hating that part of you too. They're confused on what to do. My children, I gave them space to decide who and what and how they should feel about their dad. No child should have to be taught or forced to love one parent more than the other.
I couldn't agree more. I think those are great words to end on. And again, honestly, thank you so much for being on today's show. And we'll be wishing you a great day. Thank you, Mildred.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And for everybody listening today, just like Mildred, you have to look at your life, look at these hurdles, challenges, abuses, you name it, and you have to not give up. You have to look for that flicker of light at the end of the tunnel. Know that your life is worth it, and you're going to do everything it takes to get your life back on track or to get into a safe place, because that is what living full out's about. If it was easy, well, that just wouldn't be life, right? Life is going to come with those twists and turns, but that's why we're here to support you every step of the way. Now, if you have an inspirational guest like Mildred, please reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Perhaps we can have you on the show as an inspirational guest. We'll be coming right back, taking more of your calls. Remember, today it's about not giving up on your life, your dreams, your goals, and just going for it. That's how you live full out. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable.
covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When it comes to not giving up on your dreams, your goals, or getting through a tricky time in your life, always remember to be proud of yourself. It's really important to have gratitude for what you are doing right, what is going well, because the negative self-talk will only spiral you further down. To live full out, it's all about not giving up and going after life.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are talking about not giving up. And I say those three words with intensity because the thing is our life is worth playing and living and experiencing and being creative and loving and laughing. And yes, you're going to cry. You're going to get angry. You're going to be disappointed. But you can't have one side of the coin without the other, right? But you just every day wake up and do the best you can. But don't give up, right? Keep that mantra in your mind because that's how you get closer and closer to what it is that you're striving for. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. Hello, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for calling. How can I help you?
My name is Maria. I was just looking for some advice about a situation I'm in right now. I'm in the process of moving into a new home that we've been renovating for about a year. I have 3 small kids, one of whom has already started school in my new town, and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with the thought of packing up my whole life and moving my kids. And do you have any advice you can offer to kind of help ease my nervousness, my anxiety about this?
Well, first of all, hang in there, okay? Because moving is hard. Now, let me ask you a question. Before having your kiddos, were you in the workforce? Did you have a career?
Oh, yeah, I still work part-time.
Okay, and what is your profession? What do you do?
I'm in education.
Okay, you're in education. So, are you a teacher?
Yes.
Okay, so just like how a teacher has to lead a classroom, you are the leader of your family. So you are the CEO, right? And one of the things that you have to look at when managing life transition, a new home, juggling 3 kids, trying to find your own personal time, trying to sleep, trying to do all this, is you kind of have to look at it like how you would plan out your classroom. Right? You would plan out assignments. You got to really get clear on scheduling, budgeting, not going over budget. Just like how you would run a business, how you would run a classroom, is how you want to consider managing this time in your life. And so when we talk about just the transition of moving, right? There's putting everything in boxes. There's unpacking the boxes. Right. Thinking about some sort of a system around that, coding on those boxes, what is a priority, what is not a priority, and then also considering, what support can you get? I think a lot of times we feel like no one's going to pack better than me. No one's going to unpack better. No one knows where to put things, right? But the thing is you can enroll friends to help you. Say, you know what, everybody, dinner on me. If you will just please help me unpack these boxes, right? Bring in reinforcements. Now, if you've moved to an area where you don't know anybody, then again, you kind of have to now compartmentalize your life, right? The moving is one life transition, but now it's getting settled. It's meeting new people. So now you start to think about, okay, what's my activities calendar? How am I going to meet new people, right? So it just kind of takes planning. There's a value in planning. There's making to-do lists. I bet you have a lot of to-do lists, right?
Yes.
Right? A lot of sticky notes here and there and everywhere.
Right.
I want you to get one central journal, and that's where you write everything. See, what causes further stress and anxiety is when we have the Post-it notes all over, when we have a piece of pad of paper here and, something printed there. That's when it gets out of control. Get a 3-ring binder if you have to, get a journal, have one central place for all your invoices, your calendar, receipts, all in one place, and that will help you to stay on course. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for calling in.
Don't
you give
so
up.
much.
It'll work out.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
And for everybody listening today, again, what are the words? You're not going to give up, right? Because that dream, that goal that you have, it is possible. We might have to tweak it a bit. We might have to switch up the color, right? And it might land slightly different than you had expected, but it is worth it, and you're just got to keep stepping forward. The entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening today. We want to make sure that if you need further support on a daily basis, go to your app store, look for Living Full Out Radio or Alexa, or you can go to our website anytime and hear past episodes. Most of all, I want you to know that we believe in you. We will be here each week to give you the dose of motivation that you need to live your life full out. Until next time, here's to you living full out. Don't give up. Be proud of every little step. Even when you fall, pick yourself up and say, you know what? I'm going to learn something from that. Nothing is by accident. Go out there, live big. Here's to you living your life full out. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.